We got NBA. We got Super. We got One Piece. We got White Man Dan. And we got some extra gaming stuff. This is the expansion pack. All right, guys, welcome back to the expansion packs, episode number 2. Right now, we are short on staff.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a hard week.
It's okay. But doesn't mean we don't have any content. So what that means is we sat here and watched Super yesterday. I actually had to watch Bitch Talking Goku yesterday with Jordan. Yeah, it was pretty.
It was a little hard.
It was its own thing. So let's go ahead and go over that. So what happened in our last episode of Super?
All right, so in the last episode of Super, you remember we talked about the, Universal Tournament. So right now it's coming to its close. There's 6 people left, and one of them is from the other universe. His name is Topo. He basically
which universe 11, right?
I think it's Universe 11. I could be off. Don't rail me in the comments, please. Anyway, him and Android 17 and Frieza were fighting. He was whooping them. So Vegeta actually ended up coming and helping them. Him and Vegeta got into a scrap. Turned out Vegeta actually beat him and was able to knock him off. Now we're sitting at and he used that move. You remember the move that he used against Boo?
The energy blast.
Yeah, he used that move. This time it didn't kill him. Yeah. Because of reasons. I can't tell you why. But hey, that's super logic.
So that one essentially wrapped up the episode then, right?
Basically, and then it kind of ended saying that Jiren will be fighting the last 4 people from our universe. So Frieza, Android 17, Vegeta, and Goku. So that's basically how that episode wrapped up. Little synopsis.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was a pretty solid episode as far as what you got out of it. You got a lot of content. You got a lot of references back to Z. So it kind of showed them trying to get back to being a little bit more consistent with what they're doing.
I mean, I think they only have like 6 episodes left. So it was announced recently that Super will be coming to an end. That doesn't mean we can't bring Super content anymore, but they are coming to an end, and I think they're trying to at least, tie some loose ends.
Yeah, they're
make some references to Z because that's where everybody's heart is. So
and that was the thing that we were talking about yesterday was so they did that call back to Z. So essentially, what happened was we saw Vegeta use the move that he initially used to kill Majin Buu. So that's
to kill.
Yep. So that was when we finally saw that Vegeta was good. Now we were finally assured that Vegeta's not going to try to kill anybody. He's a good guy now.
Yeah, he's not focused on himself anymore.
So he essentially he knew that he was sacrificing his life to eliminate Boo and essentially save everyone else. So he was sacrificing himself. And so last week we were talking about power drawbacks. And of course, that move that Vegeta used, the drawback was he's going to die. So
that's a pretty big drawback.
and it was to the point where it was such a serious move. It made a strong impact on on Dragon Ball Z. That really
Vegeta
changed everything. He killed himself for Trunks. He killed himself for his friends or whatever. So in this latest episode, he uses this same move to defeat Topo, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of irked me about it was that we made that scene so important. It was such a strong scene, and it really showed the humanity of Vegeta. But yet now we're in Super. He uses this move. The first thing that we had an issue with was that we know that there can't be lethal blows. It has to be a ring out for them to win. So it's a little frustrating to think that Vegeta knew that I'm going to do this move that previously killed me to kill this guy. but I'm going to essentially do the same move that could have killed me, but I don't think it's going to kill me. And instead of killing this guy, it's just going to push him off.
Yeah, that I think that's a frustrating part. Yeah, the thing about Super, and I think we talked about this before last week, this is the consistency. Consistency, like I said, is key. When you have a move that's lethal,
exactly,
it's lethal. Shouldn't it stay lethal? The only people, and I was talking about this, and this is where the Universal Tournament gets a little weird. You look at it, and the only people that mention that they have an issue holding back from killing someone is Frieza, is
it was Hit.
Yeah, Hit, and it's anyone that's absurdly stronger than the other people. So they have the handicaps, but why is it that no one else has this I can't kill them handicap? Like,
one of the things that we picked up on, because you brought it up, was when Goku was fighting the ladies, and Goku using a Kamehameha wave, essentially a Spirit Bomb and a Kamehameha wave, essentially were those were the finishers. The Spirit Bomb was the people's elbow. Yeah. The Kamehameha wave was the rock bottom. Like, nice, you get hit with that. Yeah. You get hit with that. That's it.
Yeah.
And now we got it where Goku's literally hitting people in their faces with Super Saiyan God power Kamehameha waves. There was
they had to replay it 3 times to show you how much that hurt.
It was such an epic scene. But even on top of that, though, it's just we've never seen Goku not use the Kamehameha wave lethally. Every time he actually pulled the Kamehameha wave off, and actually it came out of his hands, used his ki, and actually hit the opponent, it was lethal. It did not knock people out. It blew holes in people. Yeah. It blew Cell's top half off.
Yeah.
It was a lethal move. So why are we here, thinking that, okay, well, there's so much more control that Goku can literally do a Kamehameha wave in your face, and it's just going to be a ring out. It's not going to kill. It's not going to demolish you.
And that's where it blows my mind. Like, remember Vegeta's first Final Flash?
Yes.
He used it against Perfect Cell.
Yes.
And it blew off his arm and half of his body. He's used Final Flash like 3 times, 4 times, maybe even 5 times in this tournament. It just pushes people. It doesn't
continuous flash. It should no longer be called Final Flash.
Yeah, it's not a final. It's not. Yeah. Like it's not the final flash.
It's nothing going on there. So we went over that. We kind of discussed that, and so that's where we were having issues with that too.
Yeah.
And now, in addition to that, we were also talking about how Toppo being able to take that kind of move from Vegeta. It also it's frustrating in a sense, because now we have it where there are people that can match a god's power.
Yeah.
So we know that Jiren is technically stronger than Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sure, that's understood. So they're literally just using skill over will, essentially.
Yeah.
But the real issue is, like, when are we going to run into that person? Like, who's stronger than Jiren? Is Beer stronger than Jiren? Is there a person between them? Like, if Goku and Vegeta find a way to defeat Jiren, I really feel like there should not be someone more powerful than Jiren. Yeah, it should just pretty much go up to Beerus, because it's too many like low caliber guys that now have this power to compete with Goku. No, like you said, no one wanted to fight Jiren. No one stepped to Jiren like they're crazy, but people are coming up to Goku like he a bitch.
Yeah. So that blows my mind. So I think one thing that Super is doing, which is weird, and this kind of has thrown, I think, a kink into it for me, at least. I don't know how our audience feels, but it went before Dragon Ball Z used to be about power,
right?
Like, Frieza is stronger than Goku, so Goku becomes Super Saiyan, and then he becomes stronger than Frieza.
Exactly.
That means it ups his speed, it ups his strength, it ups his damage capability. Now you have in Super where it's like you have Super Saiyan or Blue. You have Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan, and it's like he goes and finds 17, and 17's able to fight with him in Super Saiyan Blue.
And it just shouldn't be.
No, and that's the thing is, there should be different tiers, and I think they didn't think about this when they were making it. And I know it's a weekly thing. It's not even following the manga. Like, the manga is behind it, so you don't have time to think about it.
Right.
But my thing is like, for example, and I was telling you about this earlier, it should have been different tiers from the get-go. No random person, no fodder should have stepped up on Goku or Vegeta or Hit or Jiren or Toppo or even Frieza. Like, those people, the low tier people shouldn't have messed with.
They should be nowhere near there.
Yeah, most universes shouldn't have had someone to even be able to fight him.
Exactly.
I think the universes should have been like, okay, we're not dealing with them. We're going to go for survival.
And you have to think that it's a little corny if you think about it.
Yeah.
The fact that there's so many of these different universes, and they just so happen to also have the power and the strength and ability to compete with gods from other universes.
Yeah.
The legendary Super Saiyan is not a god.
It's
Toppo is a possible god of destruction.
Yeah.
And we understand that one, but Hit is not a god.
Hit is and the only reason I get like the only things that I can say it makes sense is because, like, you look at, like, Hit's been alive for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Hit, I could say I can understand why he has the ability to compete with, like, people on God level. Goku and Vegeta, they obtained God Ki, so they're on God level, somewhere around there. You have Toppo, next God of destruction, right?
That's understandable.
He has God of destruction energy. Then you have Jiren. They've been rumoring about a mortal who can kill a god of destruction. Even his setup and his character all makes sense. I have no dilemma about them. But then it's like, okay, all those guys. That's why I'm saying
that's fine.
Whole nother
you have
tier.
You have a stable set of people who are that strong.
I don't know if you saw her, but her name's like Rebran.
Yeah.
Rebran was around just causing issues. I think Vegeta fought her in blue.
Right.
It should be no, not even close. 18 knocked her out. But Vegeta's fighting her in blue?
That's ridiculous.
And not only that, she had a power-up when 18 was fighting her, so theoretically she should be stronger. That's why I said last week, and I just want to go back to this, is Ultra Instinct is the I think the best thing from 2017, because Ultra Instinct at least went with the philosophy of where the show is going.
Yeah, it was skill. There's a skill set.
If you're talking, Super has gone more towards if you're a better fighter, you can win a fight.
Right.
You know, not about how strong you are. Ultra Instinct, you move independently. You're cool. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. It makes Goku more of a skillful fighter.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan Blue, Kaioken, Super Saiyan God.
That's all strength.
Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan 3, all strength, and they've become less and less relevant in this series. And I think that is one of the biggest issues. But I will say, though, overall, the episode was good.
It was a good.
We're being a little critical.
We're being sticklers.
Yeah.
So I mean, that pretty much goes back to the reason why you're saying, like, you know, that's why we're watching Super. We're watching Super because, you know, it's trying. There's definitely things wrong with Super, but at the end of the day, you're getting another Dragon Ball episode. At the end of the day, you're getting another piece of brand new material from an anime that you love and that you've been loving for a really long time.
And I can't lie, I do like the callbacks. I do like the callbacks.
Are cool.
That the Vegeta moment, even though I criticize it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool. I like it. They know what they're doing at times, and I feel like half the time they know what they're doing, half the time they don't.
Yeah.
I think that's the most critical moment. You know what I mean?
All right.
So.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna wrap up our Super segment. Sit here, wait. We're about to get to One Piece real soon.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Welcome back. So we're about to go ahead and go over One Piece.
Still just the two of us.
Yeah. We're trying, man.
We're trying, guys. We're trying, all right?
But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and talk about One Piece. We're going to go over the manga. So this is a spoiler alert for the anime. So if you guys are just watching the anime,
spoiler
we're
alert.
sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. Just go to the next. Go in the time card or whatever we set up. Don't watch this part if you don't want to know what's going on in the manga.
All right, so what happened in the manga this week?
Okay, so what happened in the manga this week? If you remember from last week when I was explaining that they were in the Yonko's territory, Big Mom. So what's been going on is they've had an escape plan, basically. They've been trying to get out, but it's been like it's a 10-hour period where they're trying to get out, or I think it's maybe even been longer. I apologize if I'm not 100% accurate on that one, but the whole time they've been trying to get out, Luffy has been fighting a guy named Katakuri. Katakuri is a sweet commander, which is like and the right hand man of the Yonko, meaning he's real, and he showed this capability of seeing the future with his observation haki. There's a lot of things I'm throwing out there. We'll probably explain it at some point, but if you're listening to it, you read the manga, you're good. Anyway, so Luffy has been fighting him, trying to get to his ability. He's trying to be able to see the future like Katakuri can, because this is going to be the thing that elevates him to the level to be able to fight these Yonko. He was fighting him. Last week, he got a really big injury on his side. Katakuri took a chunk out. So that's how it started. Then Katakuri was like, oh, so we've been fighting this long. He actually showed that he was getting respect for Luffy through fighting him. Luffy's a great fighter. And then it turned out someone actually interfered with this fight, which was his sister. So when that happened, Katakuri got mad, went back, yelled at his sister. Him and Luffy, or he turned back to Luffy, was like, all right, if she did that to you and messed with you, he turned his spear that took the chunk out of Luffy, stabbed himself. He has the same injury as Luffy now. Now he's fighting. He wants to fight him on equal terms. It's basically, this chapter was less about action, more so about character building, making you respect Katakuri, making you respect Luffy. They knocked out anyone that's around them, so now it's just going to be a fight between, how they put it, two men. They're just going at it. That basically wraps up everything that happened in the chapter. Very short summary. That way you can still go ahead and read it if you haven't read it already.
So with that being said, and then we'll go ahead and try to stop killing with spoilers right now and get a little bit more specific. So from what you're saying, the episode or the this week in the manga, it was more so it was explaining the respect that these two have, and it's more so, it's not necessarily about the combat or any extreme critical points in it. It's just more so like this person now has respect for this person or whatever. Yeah,
through fighting, they've had it become a mutual respect for one another.
And that seems to be a thing that does happen in animes relatively often, where two enemies do fight, and then at some point in time they obtain respect for each other.
I mean, put it in basketball terms. If you're playing basketball and you're like, man, this guy's really good, and the other guy's like, man, this guy's really good.
Yeah, you're not gonna run into that though, because people who play basketball are buttholes, and we're not gonna go into that.
That's
LA Fitness, but either way, though, so last week we were talking about how One Piece is super long. And so do you think that this tactic that they're using, are they using this just to extend One Piece even more, or are they doing it to really character build for you?
So, that's a good question. I want to say that it is for character development because everybody that reads the manga, they agreed. If you look at anyone that critiques the manga on a weekly basis, everybody loved this chapter. This is a great chapter. There are moments where Oda, the creator, he's clearly drawing, like extending the time. This was more of a character development. I like the character development, the extending the time, like when Luffy gets taken away from a fight for a short period of time, that can be annoying. But when you're talking about like this chapter where you're like, oh wow, like Luffy's getting better, he's fighting this dude that's like has extreme power, like on a whole nother tier, and Luffy's holding his own and gets his respect. I love that in a series. It makes it more entertaining. But it is hard because even in explaining this, if you're talking to someone that hasn't seen the series, it's so much stuff to it that it's just so hard to really, really explain.
So with that being said, and we were also talking about that, does the length of One Piece deter people from getting into One Piece? Because I'm trying to keep up with you guys as far as like the animes and the mangas.
It's hard to explain it to someone who
it's like if I were to ask you, to kind of break it down for me, like Roy, of course, did it last week when he gave us that full overview. So, I have a better understanding.
That was just a part.
That's just a part. So, is it worth it? Is the amount of time that you have to make up, is it worth it to get into One Piece, or is it just one of those things where you're just gonna pick it up where you left off, you're just gonna pick it up where it is, and then just date your way back?
So I might give you a little dumb answer on this one, but
I get dumb answers every day, baby. Let's go.
It is It is worth it if you have the time. It is. So the thing about One Piece is, and anime in general, there at a time about when we were growing up, about teenage years, there was a thing called the Big Three. The Big Three was Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece.
Okay.
In those three, One Piece is the only one left. One Piece, once again, is like 20-something years old.
Right.
So, with that said, there's a reason it's lasting this long. Like, people love it. In Japan, people love it. It's fantastic. But the thing is it is very, very long. 20 years. That, I think in the anime, it's somewhere around like 700 episodes or something.
You know what?
Think about how long that would take you to catch up.
Even thinking about that, like I of course picked up Dragon Ball Z through Retro Toonami. So Toonami, they came on during the day.
Yeah.
And so I think the first couple of episodes that I was in was the Namek Saga, and that was before Frieza was even active. So this is just a time frame. I want to say I picked up right after Vegeta was shipped on out of there after Goku bust his ass.
Yeah.
Or after Yeah. So that's where I picked it up at. And, I was able to date back enough in Z where I was caught up. I had an understanding of the characters, and then it's like, oh, there's also Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball is hella canon. So it's just, have you taken time to completely watch back all of Dragon Ball?
I haven't.
But it's Matt has.
Everybody. Matt has.
But I have an understanding. Like, I'll watch stuff on YouTube where I'll learn about like King Piccolo. I'll learn about that. I'll learn about.
Yeah, to be honest, I had no idea who Piccolo was when I first started watching. I just thought, hey, it's a green guy.
Yeah,
it's a green.
You learn about him. You learn more about the Red Ribbon Army. But you're saying that. Like, and I don't know how old. I know Dragon Ball is hella old, but
oh yeah, it's pretty old.
One Piece is longer than Dragon than the Dragon Ball series, then, isn't it?
Ooh, that I'd have to research. I don't know.
Because if we're talking Dragon Ball,
like
Dragon
Ball
Z,
started obviously earlier than One Piece. That's obvious, but like as a continuation, I don't know.
Because we had our breaks.
Yeah,
there was definitely
breaks. There was definitely breaks. I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to look into that. We'll get back to you guys on that next week.
Yeah.
We'll get that answer. But, yeah. You know what the thing, though, is about Dragon Ball Z? Even though we just spent, like, 15 minutes slandering it.
Everything has to date back.
The thing is you could go into Z, like, and not know about Dragon Ball and just watch and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think you could almost do that for Super, too, relatively. In Dragon Ball, you could probably watch Dragon Ball, enjoy it, and you don't even have to watch Z or Super. I don't know if it's because of the segmentation of it or if it's just the way it was designed. But One Piece, I really don't think you can just pick it up at some point. Like there's a 2-year time skip at a certain point in One Piece, and I don't think you could just be like, oh, I'm gonna pick it up right here. Which I think it gets significantly better after this 2-year time skip. It introduces a lot more things.
Yeah,
but you can't just do it. You just can't. There's too much story building. There's too much things to it. You have to start from the beginning.
It reminds me of like certain television shows. So like, you could pick up Rick and Morty and you can just watch Rick and Morty and just enjoy it. If you date it, like if you watch it chronologically, you'll get a better appreciation of it. But it's a show where you can just pick it up and kind of roll with it. But there's also shows where you really can't do that in, like The Office. If you start with old like really late seasons of The Office, it's not funny. But early seasons you can do that, and that's because it's so much more character development. And
it's just the point of saying, like, with The Office, there's built up jokes. Yeah. Like with One Piece, you have built up character moments. You have reasons. You have motivations that you're missing if you don't start from the beginning. And it's impressive, but it's like I can understand where it would throw someone off from joining on the same note, because it's like if you try to pick it up, you could be like, oh, this fight scene's cool, but you're missing the depth of it. But if you try to start from the beginning, it's like, it's taking forever to get to where I want to be.
So you're saying like the beginning of One Piece was so slow?
I think it was a little bit. So, like, if I was talking about the big three, like comparing it, if you're watching this, I'm assuming you know the other two. I think out of the three of them, One Piece had the slowest start.
Okay.
I think it did. I might get some hate comments for that one.
I mean,
but I think it honestly did. Bleach probably had the best start. Naruto had the second best start, and I think One Piece has the third best start or the worst.
I can't think. What's the anime with the giant folks, the big ass people that are eating people?
Oh, Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
that was one of the best starts in anime
but
history.
See,
I don't know.
You know what's so funny about that though? Like, I was so thirsty to watch Attack on Titan, and I was really watching it on Toonami. And the funny part was, it's like, for me, that was slow.
Really?
Slow in the sense where I had the story, but I wasn't patient enough to kind of watch through it. Like,
well, if you can't make it through that, then you can't make it through One Piece. There's no way.
And I understand that Attack on Titan actually had a quick start. I comprehend that, but what I'm saying is, as a more casual anime viewer, I'm looking for a solid ass start, and like I'm looking for something at the end of the first episode. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for some crazy stuff to go on first episode.
Yeah. And I think that's what, if you look at the different, like the newer animes coming up, I think a lot of them are a lot shorter series. There's really I don't think there's really no long running anime series that are coming up, at least things that come up on a weekly basis without like taking a break or something. Like a lot of them are like 25 episode seasons or something. Yeah. Or even some are like 13 episode seasons, like One Punch Man, My Hero Academy, Attack on Titan.
But that's the thing though, like something like One Punch Man, it had such a quick start that it was very interesting. Like I was able to sit there through there, and that's why I've been loyal with One Punch Man.
Even though it's been a few years since it came out.
It's been such a long time, but I'm waiting for it. I'm watching for it.
Should be this year, though.
You know what I'm saying?
So
and same thing something with like Attack on Titan. Like, I think we went through a commercial break, and I stopped watching it because during the first half of the show, before it hit commercial break, I didn't see anything. So I'm like, man, fuck it, and went for something else.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it kind of depends on the taste that you're going for. But once again, One Piece, its fan base, I mean, just to kind of bring it all together, One Piece's fan base is very loyal to the series.
Right.
And with that dedication, you can see that it is a good series. From me, like, you've heard me, Roy.
Yeah, you guys will talk about it all
fucking
day.
We could literally talk about it all day.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much to it. There's so much backstory that goes on in it, and there's so many things that you can analyze and all that, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But for the casual viewer, I want to pick up a show and, kind of wait.
It's just not there.
It's just not there. It's extremely hard. You have to actually dedicate, like how dedicated we are to getting this stuff out.
Yeah.
You have to dedicate yourself to watching One Piece because it's hours, hour. It's going to take weeks.
I remember I was crying.
Probably months.
I was crying trying to catch up to Super. I couldn't imagine One Piece.
No, One Piece is a monster in its own. So.
All right, guys, that's our One Piece section, so we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back, guys. You got Matt and you got Justin, and you know what it is. We're talking about the NBA. So we all know the All-Star Weekend's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of controversy, I think, about the NBA. Not necessarily controversy, but a lot of talk. I'm curious with you guys. What do you think of the All-Star Weekend? Do you think there's snubs? Do you think there's a lot of snubs for this All-Star? Because I'm looking at it, and I don't know if I agree with necessarily the people that made it. But I don't know if I can necessarily disagree. So what do you guys think?
My thing about the All-Star Weekend, especially with the All-Star game, the pick 'em up, first thing, they should have televised the pick 'em up. They should have televised the picks like that. I don't even understand how that's not a thing.
They don't want to hurt people's feelings.
It's ridiculous. Because if I can go to the Y, or I can go to LA Fitness and get picked up, and you don't get picked, like, let's be adults here. Like, that's irritating.
Yeah, really though. Like, if you're the last pick on an All-Star team in the NBA,
stop crying.
Yeah,
stop crying. Like when LeBron made fun of Russell Westbrook because he was crying about it, and then Russell's like, we told him like, you're actually not the last one. And he's like, get your soft ass out of here. And that's not even like, you wouldn't even expect that from somebody like Russ. But the fact that it brought that out was ridiculous. But
man, that's funny.
As far as snubs go, my thing about the All-Star game is yes, we know what players are the best players. We know which players deserve to be in the All-Star game every single year. But the All-Star game isn't necessarily it is to celebrate the best players in the league, but it's also to celebrate the efforts of said players in the league. So that's why they're in the dunk contest. You're not always going to have the same top names in the dunk contest like we used to do. I mean, it was better back in the day, but that's because they took it seriously.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll now get guys where it's like, okay, this dude, he may not be on the All-Star roster, but the actual game roster, but this guy's got ups, you know what I'm saying? So somebody like Aaron Gordon, where he won't be on the roster, and it'd be a long time before we see somebody like Aaron Gordon on a roster like that. He'd have to get a lot better, but we see him in every damn dunk contest. Same thing with Zach LaVine or something like that. You know, these are guys that are not going to be in that All-Star Weekend game or whatever, but you know they have this skill set that's you know, impressive. It's unique. It's unique or whatever, and we're going to actually show the skill of this person. So I'm a fan of taking that guy that, you know, it may be the dude that may be most improved, like somebody like Oladipo, like 24, I think he's like 24 points a game or whatever. His stats, they're great stats, but they're not that impressive. They're not jaw dropping impressive for me to be like, oh, you know what, we're just gonna put him on there. No, this is to give a shout out to Oladipo for being a leader in Indiana.
Yeah,
dealing with that change from OKC and, you know, flourishing to that player. So I'm perfectly fine with guys like Victor Oladipo making the team, and I'm perfectly fine with guys like Paul George not making the team originally. Because if we look at a guy like Paul George, of course he's a superstar. He plays like a superstar. He's superstar. I guess he looks like a superstar. But at the end of the day, Paul George, he does affect OKC, but you have Melo. You have Brody on your team. You know what I'm saying? Like you have other players. You're not the best all-star on your team.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly why,
you know,
we were saying, like, the snubbing, to me, when the fans come up with this thing that players are getting snubbed, I don't believe in that at all, because when you see Chris Paul, he did not play as well as Steph Curry or Russell Westbrook this year, and it's like, oh, he got snubbed. But are you going to take one of those two people out?
No.
Paul George?
No.
Are you going to take James Harden out for him?
No.
It's like Kawhi Leonard got snubbed, but he was injured. You can say that about anybody at that point.
They did the same thing with Derrick Rose that one year.
It just doesn't make any sense. The only person I feel like could have got snubbed, well, he got in but didn't really deserve to be, is Al Horford. 13-7.
13-7 isn't impressive. Like, we understand why Al Horford would be on that team because of how good the Celtics
are doing, but 13-7.
There may be some advanced analytics on that too, though. So they may be looking at player usage and stuff like that.
But even
I mean, what are the three stages of the All-Star vote, or the fan vote, the media vote, and the
player vote?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't look at it. I'm not 100% sure, but like, who voted for Al Horford?
Yeah, it's really because he's on the Celtics team and they're winning right now. Yeah. Just like the same thing with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green somehow always makes it too.
And then even with the reserves, we really gonna put Dragic on there?
Yeah, that I had to make a post on Twitter about that. I'm like, Goran Dragic is our next All-Star.
Like, he's not even the best All-Star on his team. Like, I'm taking Whiteside over that. You know, and I guess that's contradictory to what I'm saying. Where you know, you give that nod to the guys that are putting up those kinds of numbers.
No, we're also talking
real quick. Who went out for Dragic to go in?
Ooh. I think it was. I don't know exactly who he's replacing, but we know Love was out. I don't think I think he was replacing Kevin Love. So I don't think they're doing like guard for guard, center for center.
That's what I thought they were doing at first.
I don't think
that's why I'm like, I don't understand.
I think they're just rolling it to the next.
Al Horford
the next
would be on there. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Wow. Yeah. But I mean, what I do want to talk about too, another thing for the All-Star, you know, this new format, you guys mentioned it, is like this whole pickup thing. How I see it, I think that the whole reason for doing this was because the East doesn't have the All-Stars to deal with the West.
Yeah.
And I think that it's kind of a shade onto the East.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I talked about last time.
It's cool. I think it was a great solution. I give it to the NBA for coming up with that solution. But for them to do this specific year, like, everybody knows why.
Yeah,
and
we
I think that's kind
understand
of
why
a
he did that.
weird.
This is what I had talked about last time when I was saying how weak the East is and how it doesn't matter, is because all the stars are pulled onto one team. And then when the rest of the teams, you gotta have entries for them. It's like the same Cavaliers team, and they can't deal with all the all-stars from the West, and then losing Jimmy Butler to the West, losing Paul George to the West, it's just too much to handle. And now it's an uneven balance. The all-star game isn't even fun. We see like 200, 300 threes shot at the all-star game. Nobody wants to watch that, and it's dangerously becoming the NFL. Like,
but you know
nobody
what?
wants to watch the All-Star.
Like I'm not gonna blame that on it. Yeah, of course the West definitely has way more all-stars than the East does. But I'm not gonna blame that on because the East is weak. If we just kept it conference specific and we just took guys from the East, you can build a squad that can compete with guys against the West. If I take I'm serious. So let me say.
Okay.
So if we take LeBron, we take Giannis, we take Kyrie, we take Whiteside, we take just start pulling names down. We take AWOL. Hey Andy. we take Wall. We take John Wall. We take Porzingis. We grab a couple of guys. Give some of the East guys a couple of those. Good job this year. If they actually were to take the game seriously, it'd be more interesting. It's not because of the players. Like there's been plenty of times where the East and the West have been relatively balanced, and we have those crappy All-Star games because no one's taking it seriously. And I feel like back in the day they took it a little bit more seriously. And you see Adam Silver trying to incentivize it by saying, all right, we're gonna give you 25,000, and we're gonna give you 100,000. Like that's cool and all, but if you're, make the game competitive. It's not the roster, it's the players that are making it not that great. Even with like the dunk contest, it was the players not putting in the effort. It was guys like LeBron not wanting to, do that for the fans.
Contest.
It's a fan thing, but at the end of the day, it's still competitive. Back when it was Vince Carter and Kobe, they're competitive. This is a competitive thing. But this isn't just for fun.
If you take into consideration the fact that in the East, they've always lost to people in the West. They don't even have a chance to compete with them during the regular season. You get selected for this All-Star game, and you see in these giants that you got to play against now.
DeRozan doesn't care about that. Guys like DeRozan won't care about that. Whiteside doesn't care about that.
That's literally 1 to 2 guys.
No, but none of the guys that we're choosing.
Whiteside doesn't handle the ball, and this is a point guard dominated NBA.
Oladipo wouldn't care about that. John Wall feels like he can compete against anybody.
But how come it hasn't happened then? They've been in an All-Star game.
The East have won a few. It's not that lopsided.
I don't remember the last time the East won.
I don't watch the All-Star game that much, and it's not even we're not watching it.
Last time was the Big Three when the Big Three were together, I think.
But that's the thing, though. Are we watching the All-Star game to see who's winning? We're not watching it to see.
Yeah, we want to see competitiveness. So
I'm not watching the All-Star game to see is the East going to win, is the West, especially now. Like, I feel like before, back in the day, it was more like, is the East going to win? Is the West going to win?
But that's the problem.
When you watch it now, you're just watching. I want to see how Kyrie and KD play together. Like, that's why you watch it now. We're not watching the All-Star games solely for competitiveness. We're watching to see odd combinations of players.
Then they're not really playing together. It's
so that's why I don't count these East losses. Like, what the fuck ever, it doesn't really matter. The only time I remember something actually mattering was when LeBron, it was the end of whichever All-Star game. It might have been Kobe's last one, I think, or the one before the last one, where it came down to like a last shot. And he passed it up, and then Kobe ate him alive for that, Yeah, that's the last time it was competitive like that. And that was in Miami Heat days.
But like what I was saying with the East, like when I give out, you watch it because you just want to see your two favorite players play together. I see it as like Derrick Rose when he was an All-Star. I want to see Derrick Rose lead this team to a win against the West to show that the East is better because I'm behind the Eastern Conference because I'm a Bulls fan.
Right.
And that's where I'm coming from, where I really want that competitiveness too. But it can't be if they don't have the confidence to beat the teams in the West because these are the people that played together for years. It's Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. It's like you're playing the same team. You don't have that chemistry that
I don't even think the West comes out the locker room thinking like that though. It's not like the West comes out, oh, we're the shit and we're gonna win. I think they're coming out there just to dick around too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but
I think
like,
if
I don't
anything,
think
the East may
anyone
take 'em more.
expect like if it was the regular format, I don't think anyone expects
The East
that
to win.
the
No, not
East
at all.
would win.
Not at
That's
all.
what I'm saying. So like,
But see, I would have liked it because I would have been rooting for the East hard as hell because
Because they
like
would've
you
been
said,
the extreme underdog.
I'm a Bulls fan, so
Yeah.
I'm backing the East. So if I'm watching it, I'm
But
looking
that's-
like, all right, let's go. We
we
can't
can't get behind anything anymore though, because the East is so weak, and that's what my point I was making.
This would be the one time where I'm like, all right, DeMar, I'm with you. That's the only time I'd be like that. Just during this time frame. Other
DeMar
than that, I don't give a
DeRozan.
damn about DeMar DeRozan. But during All-Star weekend, that's when I actually cared about him. Now, if we do it this way, I really don't give a damn. You're putting more emphasis on the top name.
Mm-hmm.
And the lower names you don't care about no more. No one
Because
cares.
they can't
Only
compete with the
Toronto
top
cares
name.
about only Toronto fans care about DeMar DeRozan now. You know, there's not, or maybe people in Cali, but other than that, no one cares about DeMar DeRozan versus if it was East versus West. And if you're, let's say you're a Jersey, not a Jersey fan, but what's the Nets team,
Yeah.
the Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn
if
Nets.
you're
Yeah.
a Brooklyn Nets
Forget
fan
that
and you don't
team
have
exists.
anybody to back, you don't have anybody in the game. I don't know how Spencer Dinwiddie got in the skills challenge.
Yeah.
But if you're a part of of a franchise, you're a fan of a franchise that doesn't have any all-stars, you're gonna back the East. If you're that diehard of a fan. And so that's, like I said, that's a time frame when I care about guys like DeMar DeRozan. Times when I care about guys like John Wall. Now it's just like I could give two shits because he might not even be on the same. I don't even care about LeBron versus Steph type thing. It just it takes the fun out of the conference meaning anything, and the conference meaning anything gave you polarity. Where now they're even talking about breaking up the conferences and just seeding through the actual NBA stats. And again, that breaks up polarity. Yeah, it'd be cool to see like Boston versus the Warriors more often, but I'm cool with two.
So what you're saying is you want to back up the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I want
and
to.
you don't like the way the All-Star.
No, I don't have anybody to
so
root for. I'm gonna root for Team Curry just because I don't like LeBron. But that's
neither here nor there.
Right.
I think so what you're saying is you feel like this is a move more so just for entertainment purposes, but if they would have kept it the same, you feel that it would be more so for those diehard fans.
For diehard fans,
that one?
Nah.
the way they run it now, this new way is for the fair weather fans. This is gonna now I see all of these names, and I like to see all these names play together.
I guess
Where
I'm
if you're a
fair weather
diehard
fan.
I
guess I'm a fair weather
let
fan.
me see what Matt's
I
like.
don't
Guess he
like it.
disagrees with it real quick. Let's
Like
see what you got to
I
say.
honestly I want to see competitiveness, and it just wasn't competitive enough in the East because the West was so much better than them, and we see these 200-point games, and it's just like this is not what I paid for. I want to pay for to go see. If I was going to pay to see the All-Star game, I don't want to see them shoot 100 threes, and that's why I feel they had to change this, and I feel it was a good idea to do the draft, because now we're excited. We're talking about it again. We are excited to see Kevin Durant and LeBron James, which we would have never seen before. Like Kevin Durant has always been in the West, and LeBron's always been in the East.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm excited.
That's a little cool, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that'll wrap up the NBA talk. All right. We'll get back to you guys in a second.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're gonna go ahead and get started with our weekly Dan update. This is gonna be our DLC, and as you see, we finally got rid of Matt, so we're not gonna have any more unsurprised looks for these things that are going on, because this is stuff that is happening that I don't know about, and I'll be that guy. So Dan, what you got for me this week? First. Who you got for the Pro Bowl? Or not Pro Bowl. Who do you got for the Super Bowl?
I'm a Cowboys fan, so I gotta go Patriots. Eagles are in their conference, and I'm not really Eagles, Giants, Redskins. Any game against them, I always go against the other team. Plus, I mean, I like Tom Brady. I feel like people trash on him because of how great he is. Just like, I mean, he's equivalent to the LeBron James. Everybody finds faults in LeBron James, and they don't feel like his decisions are right, and then they transfer that to Tom Brady, and it's kind of like a mirror effect between two great athletes.
All right, Dan, so what you got for us this week?
This week's on Dan's local comments. I have the common theme for this podcast so far has been the Pro Bowl or the Super Bowl. We just talked about that, and then we had the All-Star coming up for NBA. But last weekend, I don't know if many of you guys probably didn't know that there was the NHL All-Star game, which
Really?
yeah, NHL is a sport as well. And I mean that it's what's funny is you guys brought up the comments about how they switched the new format of the All-Star between East and West, where I mean NHL they started doing that 3 years ago. So and like especially like with this drafting thing, like you were saying you were disappointed with the draft, but NHL it's more transparent. They take 4 divisions. You have the Metropolitan, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Central. They assign a team captain, and then they go through and they build a team for a competition. So I think last weekend we had the Pacific was playing the Metropolitan, and then Atlantic was playing Central.
So there's 4. So there's like essentially 4 All-Stars.
There's 4 All-Star teams, and then to kind of then the NHL made lots of moves towards trying to get the fans involved. And also keep the players happy. So they kind of tweaked the format where it's not necessarily your traditional hockey game of 5-on-5. They actually have it where it's 3-on-3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it opens up like the offense. It challenges the players so that they can kind of put together these all-star caliber plays, one-timers and assists and no-look passes and 360 no-scopes and all that stuff. But, I mean, I watched that last week, and
did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was sitting there. You're waiting for the next team. You're like, obviously, I'm a Chicago Blackhawks fan, and there was Patrick Kane was one of the players on the Central.
Okay.
And unfortunately, their team lost first round, and then they do a lot where they will mic up the people on the ice and they'll interview them while they're taking a rest between the next shift, and they'll just ask them like personal questions about the seasons, their relationship with other players. Like,
do they set it up where are the games, do they go up to like a number?
No, it's 2 10-minute periods. It's 2 10-minute periods. So they'll play 10 minutes, they'll rest, they'll switch goalies, and then they'll play another 10 minutes. And then after that, depending on what the score is, I mean, last year I think there was one game that went up to like 13-4, but this year it was there was a lot of defensemen actually on the All-Star teams, so it was a pretty low scoring year this year.
So do they just play the whole thing like on like one day? Like the way we have our game on Sunday, you guys.
Yeah, so Sunday was when they have the 3-on-3 matches between the teams, but Saturday is like the skills competition, the passing competition. You have the speed skating challenges and stuff. So it's actually a lot more in depth. Like they're testing accuracy, they're testing like quick decision making, they're testing speed, they're testing defense abilities. It's like a more well-rounded, I guess.
What's the equivalent to the slam dunk contest in hockey?
It would probably be actually before it was a shootout contest, so it was a one-on-one challenge, shooter versus goalie. And then they would go down and they would try to score like the best goal per se, and then they would get judged on their abilities with their agility with skating or their puck handling or their accuracy.
Right.
This year they switched up the format actually, kind of where they get the goalies more involved. It was called the goalie streaks, where a goalie just goes against a bunch of players, and then they try to make the most saves consecutively, and then the goalie with the biggest streak wins.
The other players, are these guys also all-stars, or are they taking like secondary guys too?
I mean, no, they're all-stars, but especially with hockey, you have 5 people on the ice. Every team has their starting 5, so most of those people are the all-stars that do get selected. But I mean, there's a variety. Like you guys were talking about how some teams don't have any representation in the NBA, whereas hockey is not anywhere close to that. Like the Buffalo Sabres, they're a low-caliber team, usually always last in the conference, and they had players in the all-star games representing
just
their
doing
team.
stuff.
But I mean, they were there for a reason. They're not just picked because they need advertisement for their team or not. But to me, since I'm not really an NBA fan, it's more of a I felt more included in an NHL All-Star than I would be if an NBA All-Star.
Yeah, with the NBA, it's a lot more secluded.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to the point where we were watching the Pro Bowl too. So like I mentioned earlier, like Spencer Dinwiddie, he's in the skills challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should be in the skills challenge. He was playing for the Bulls for a while. Like I'm pretty sure there's more skilled, more higher caliber names.
Oh yeah,
that'll be on there. So with that being said, with the Pro Bowl, do these things matter? Like, because I know the skills challenge, I don't really care about it. I'm gonna watch it, but I don't really care about it. Pro Bowl, I give no shits about it. So like.
Mm-hmm.
How important is the NFL All-Star Weekend? Is that really important to the NFL, or is it just like,
NFL or NHL?
I'm sorry, NHL.
See,
NHL.
they
NHL.
can't even keep track of the sport.
I'm sorry,
what
guys.
we're even talking about.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, it's the league kind of banks on it, because with the scheduling throughout, everybody kind of goes up until the All-Star Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The teams they're typically used to playing every other night, sometimes every night.
Yeah.
This is like a 5-day period where they get a rest. But right now is the time of the season where everybody's starting to like get a grip, trying to put their heads down and make a playoff push for those teams that are like a couple points out of the wild card position. And I think there's like 16 weeks left, which sounds like a lot, but I mean, with hockey, I'm not sure how the NBA is, but the playoffs are a point system. Mm-hmm. So if you win a game during regular season, you get 2 points. If you lose a game, you get 0 points. And then if you lose in overtime, you get 1 point.
Right.
So right now, teams they could be like 15 points out of wild card position. So they're trying to win every single game they can to make that gap in their conference to try to come back and be a playoff team. And I feel like that's especially with the All-Stars. They get to go out there and see these people they don't really compete against until playoffs, and you can see how they're joining. They have kind of good friendships. They're talking about how their seasons are going, what they're expecting, but they're also, hockey is known for being, there's fights and everybody's talking like trash, and it's kind of fun.
That still blows me. I don't understand how you
can
if
you don't like a guy,
hockey.
you just drop your gloves, you beat the hell out of him, and you only gotta sit in a box for 5 minutes.
How is that okay? That's not okay.
If you think, people have problems with it. They're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have fighting in a game. Well, what do you think what happens when a pitcher throws a ball and hits a batter?
They're not allowed to straight up brawl.
I know, but you charge the mound, they're still fighting. They have suspensions and stuff, but hockey, it's a physical sport. It's built. You put walls, no out of bounds, a rubber puck, and you're slap shooting it at 100 miles per hour. Like, hitting somebody should be included in that sport. It's kind of like that. That rollerball movie.
Dan, you guys literally are allowed to just start swinging at each other, and there's no interference at all. We'll let you go for about a minute, and then we're gonna break you up. Like, how is that okay?
Well, that's the thing though. It's a tempo changer. It's uncommon because like in other sports, like this is why I'm not a big fan of basketball. It's so many fouls and so many penalties. In football, it's roughing the passer, or if there's a huge hit, there's always a flag thrown in the air before they even know what the call is, like helmet to helmet or pass interference or a defenseless receiver. And it's like, I understand that those sports, they're protecting the athletes, but NHL. They're not wearing that much more than NFL players, and they're like you said, they're out there fighting. And
do you guys have like penalties for like getting hit in the head or anything?
It's not.
I know the stick's not
Royal
supposed
Rumble
to do anything.
You
telling me it ain't a Royal Rumble, but it's Golden Gloves though.
it looks like it, but because like there's rules to protect the players in all sports, and I think NHL they are doing a good job of being able to keep the tradition of like the foundation of the sport compared to tweaking it, like where football is almost unwatchable now, or basketball for me is definitely unwatchable. Like, if the amount of fouls I see in a basketball game I would rather watch golf, and like that's just a bunch of people they're literally just swinging clubs. But with hockey, there's rules. No elbowing. Like they try to keep people in line, but then again, there's also they understand the tempo of the game is rough. Will allow a more rougher game, depending on if it's a rivalry or if the game starts out like that. But they do a good job of controlling it. But I mean, I'd rather be a hockey player and lose my teeth and break bones and stuff than be a basketball player and just always be spraining my ankles.
Damn, that shit hurts.
But I was always a fan of hockey. I think I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania playing hockey, and there wasn't, like, especially now what I'm seeing is it's primarily a European sport, and there's Canadian and American, so there's not that many black people that are playing it. Mm-hmm. However, you're seeing a change where there's a lot more black people being involved, like not necessarily American, they'll be Canadian or Swedish or German or something like that. But I like to see how the NHL, in my opinion, has been doing the best at being able to keep the sport watchable. Actually, it's considered a growing sport where more and more people are watching it. You have cities that are turning into hockey towns and supporting the teams more and more, and they're getting deals with sponsorships and advertisements and TV channels. So I wouldn't be surprised if it would be similar to where, like, the people aren't watching basketball anymore because of the East and West controversy, or the people in football where it's almost unwatchable to watch Thursday night football or Monday night football. Those viewers want to watch sports, and baseball, not really a sport, so the only option is hockey.
You know what though? Like, and not even to be funny, I remember people used to like make fun of soccer a lot, and one of my friends would do, like, just come look at it, just actually come watch it, and like I go watch them, like, this is kind of cool, and like, and now, like, I'm the person that's trying to get FIFA every year, that just started, the end of college. So, and I'm into it now.
I mean, you look at that, you look at soccer. I mean, I'm not a soccer fan, again, because of the penalties. They get paid hundreds of millions to flop, worse than LeBron James. Like, I'm pretty sure that
shots all day, every segment, baby.
But UFC is becoming more and more a thing, because boxing is kind of, in my opinion, being phased out. Yeah. America's becoming a soccer country because we have these players that we're actually being able to compete against other countries. Hockey, we're being able to be competitive against Canada and Switzerland and Finland and stuff. Yeah. Like, football is being phased out because of the issues with the medical research.
Brain stuff.
No one really plays American football. The
outside of America,
relative would be rugby, and even rugby. I mean,
rugby's tougher than football.
Yeah, rugby's tougher than football, but they also they don't have such a huge following as far as soccer or other countries with hockey. So it's nice to see these other sports are coming too, and it's interesting to see what their future is with how they revamped, like, the All-Star weekends, and they try to keep it a watchable sport.
I dig it.
Yeah. You should watch hockey. It's fun.
I'm not going to watch hockey.
NHL 18.
We're not doing this.
I'm waiting for NHL 19. I only play NHL. You guys are always playing 2K and NBA Live for some reason.
We're not doing this.
My gamer tag, let me get better before I announce that.
I'm terrified that I'm going to come in one day and play, like, one game in NHL. I'm like, oh, shit.
It's stress relieving. You can sit there playing, like, thinking basketball, you're like, what the hell, the game cheated. In hockey, you just lower your shoulder and take the dude out. It's more of a pleasurable game. Like, it's an emotional game to me. You'll be yelling at your TV, and then you'll be, like, recording videos because you just did something dirty.
That's funny too, because when I'm playing FIFA, I feel it's like I enjoy playing FIFA. I get pressed playing 2K.
Yeah, so you guys make sure you keep a lookout on hockey, and you guys, it's not a hard game to pick up, and go check out your local teams, and you can learn a lot.
EA, that's a shout out. Yeah. Look, that's a shout out.
Fix your servers.
All right, we'll be back, guys. All right, guys, welcome back. So we're go ahead. It's our last segment. This is what we have. Matt jumped off a cliff.
The big three.
Oh, God. The big three right here. So we're go ahead and get started with some video game
who's
stuff.
LeBron?
It ain't me. But not. Yeah. All right, guys. So
last shot.
So what we were talking about earlier today was we went to Best Buy. Yeah, Best Buy, you're going to get shots because, like, I'm spending too much money in there. I got a credit card with y'all, and we got some stuff we need to take care of. So let me let you guys know off the bat. Word on the street is Best Buy doesn't have a 30-day return policy. They have a 15-day return policy.
Just so you guys know, this was this morning.
This is literally
still
this
heated
morning
about this.
I'm still pissed about this. So I bought a Mac charger, and it was $79.99, and I bought it on the 6th of January.
I know, was that expensive?
This day of recording, it's like, I think it's the 4th. It's the 4th right now.
My birthday.
It's Dan's birthday.
Happy birthday, Dan.
We really be acting like it's not Dan's birthday.
I know.
Like, it's very
I
nonchalant.
mean, I'm at the age now, it doesn't matter.
It's true. But so in the other charger for this one, because I updated my Mac, they have different chargers. So I'm trying to bring it in, and, you know, I'm thinking I'm within 30 days. It's not the 6th of February yet. And the dude's like, oh, we only have a 15-day policy. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just trying to, you know, I'm trying to exchange it. I'm not trying to return. I don't need to get any money back. I bought it with my Best Buy card. He's like, oh, well, it's only a 15-day policy. So after 15 days, I'm like, I can't exchange it? He's like, unfortunately not. You know, it says it on the receipt. And I'm like, I'm looking at him like, you know, I ain't gonna get worked up with dude. So I read the receipt, and it says it on the receipt. It's a 15-day return policy. And
2 weeks in a day.
That's not enough time, especially
bad.
for electrical equipment. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not enough time for stuff. And so to tie this back to video games, of course, as you guys know, we have GameStop, where you're literally a fool if you were to bring your stuff into GameStop, you know, to get anything back. So it's a little, you know, we're starting to get to the point where let's actually talk about this now. We've always sat here and complained about it, but let's talk about this.
Well, Jordan, you've gotten screwed in the past where you bought a new game from GameStop, and you're like, oh, well, you
It's getting me heated up just thinking about it.
And
Yeah.
they're like, you brought it back to either exchange it or return it because of a gift, or you have an additional copy, and they look at you and they're like, you broke the seal. It's like, what's that mean? It's like, we can only give you the same game if there's something wrong with your disc, and then it's like, oh, I've never played it. I broke the seal because it was a gift, and like, you broke the seal.
Yeah. So basically, I got a game, and I wanted to play it with my roommate, and I wanted to play a different game with my roommate. So I was like, all right, I'll just take it back, give it back to him, and just exchange it. Like,
How many days were we in?
Wasn't the next day? It was like
the next
Overwatch
day.
or something.
It wasn't
Yeah.
even like it wasn't a thing. Like, it
Okay.
wasn't even a day thing. It was just, we can't accept it because it's opened.
You broke the seal. Don't
I'm
break the
like,
seal.
What you can check it. You guys have systems here. You can literally look to see the game's working, and you're saying I can't exchange it. And not only that, it was a brand new game, and they were about this blew me off. This blew me away. All right, you ready? Stay in your seat because it's gonna knock you out of it.
My socks are in hand.
They told me I was exchanging it.
Yeah.
They looked me dead in my face. This is a $60 game.
Yeah.
This is Overwatch.
Yeah.
When it first came out.
Yeah.
Super.
They looked at me dead in my face and said, all right, you're gonna get $25 credit.
Credit? Not even credit.
Credit. And I was like, what? I'm like, if that's not the cheapest thing, I literally got this yesterday.
Right.
And you guys are going to say $25 credit.
So my thing about it is, it's
$25.
we're getting to the point where it's pretty stupid to buy a disc, because you're not getting anything back for it. If I buy let's say a new Mortal Kombat comes out next year, and like 2K, you get the gold edition. It costs like $100 and something. Like, you're kind of an asshole, because you're never gonna get anywhere near that amount of money back for it.
No.
If anything, if you take it back within 6 months, it's worth less than a regular game.
They're treating video games like they're brand new cars. You drive it off the lot, you just got off 60%.
I think it's worse. I think it's worse. Like, is it worse?
A company that I found that, I guess they're a company, but that they're for video games is Amazon. Actually, you can trade in your games, and they actually give you like a decent amount. Where like I remember I bought Need for Speed Payback recently, and I went on GameStop's to estimate what my return would be, and they're like, oh, you're gonna get like $6.70, and I was like, well, I just bought this game brand new, and you're gonna give me $6.70 for a trade-in. And then I went to Amazon and I put in the title and everything, and they said that they're gonna be $22 for it. I was like, well, that means every single game I'm buying now is gonna be from Amazon. So GameStop just lost another customer, because I understand, like,
They're going down.
if you're at GameStop, you're trying to buy it cheap, sell it for expensive. You're gonna pump $200, $300 off of that game, depending on how frequent people bring it back. Whereas Amazon, they're just trying to take that back, give it to a lower price to somebody else. They're not trying to make so much of a profit onto it, and everybody's happy then. Now I got money. It's more money to buy a newer game. Someone else was able to buy a game cheap, and Amazon was still able to pull a couple dollars out for them. It's like that should be the motto for, especially now for the gaming industry.
And I've gotten to the point where like there's particular games that I would never buy a disc for. So if I were to buy 2K, I'm gonna buy 2K off the PlayStation Store because one, it's gonna go on sale. It's gonna go on sale at some point in time. It's gonna drop very low. Two, the load up time is gonna be a lot faster. The only thing that sucks is that I'm taking up storage in my PlayStation. But, you know, even then, it's like, oh, you can just get external hard drive and kind of enroll it that way. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, you're like, even with sports games, you're going to get so much less back that it's not even worth investing in the disc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, with the because I know PlayStation now, that's a big thing is buying the digital copy.
Yeah.
But the only issue with that is like, I think I bought one digital game since that was even an option because you're not going to be able to return that. You're buying it and it's yours for life.
Now I'm the jerk that likes to buy the disc.
Mm-hmm.
But
I can understand the physical property of it.
And the thing is, I think right now we're at a weird point in gaming where it's like PC gamers, you guys are cool. Yeah, you guys are straight. Cool. You guys got like terabytes of memory, but like. For the downloadable content, if you download 2K, you're literally giving up like 100 gigabytes just like right off the bat. Yeah. And if I bought my PS4 early, so I have 500 gigabytes? Yeah. So 500. I am literally consistently running into memory issues. Like, so I have to delete a game that I actually still like to play. Or I would like to come back to in order to play another game that I want to play. Like,
so is this all like a Ponzi scheme of gaming? So it's like,
I feel like you buy the disc, you essentially have to deal with the bureaucracy of either waiting on the disc or going to GameStop, which that's in a whole thing of its own. Yeah. And if you download it, it's a permanent buy, which I kind of really don't like. Yeah. And
but it's permanent forever. Where if you were to like let's say we're 60. I plan on turning 60. Please don't let me die before that. But
that got dark.
I know, right? I turned 60, and I still have my PlayStation account, and I have like a grandson, and he'll buy his old PlayStation 4. Like,
okay, I don't know that's never gonna happen. But then you're gonna be living in the video game.
I remember back in the day where I used to play 2K17 and actually like have it still up.
Are you gonna be that crippled when you're 60?
60? People still run marathons.
God. This has gotten more than just video games at this point.
Well, but yeah, I mean, I kind of like that a little bit, but I mean, at the end of it, it's just.
I feel like it forces people to update more. So like now with the consoles, like before it was PlayStation 1, you waited forever for PlayStation 2. And then they went PlayStation 2, then PlayStation 2 Slim. And then PlayStation 3 came out. Then it was PlayStation 3 Active with the camera and sticks. And then it was PlayStation 3 Slim. Then PlayStation 4 came out. And then was PlayStation 4 Pro, which is what I got. But it forces you to kind of update because with the Pro comes more memory. It comes more graphics to play the better games that you're going to end up buying.
Or you got to buy that external hard drive, which I really should invest in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's just like it's in this weird situation where we need more memory. Yeah. Because if you want to download things, it's gonna take up a lot of memory.
Where's this cloud everybody's talking about?
Yeah, where's the cloud, man?
I don't see no cloud.
Yeah, you know, we really could use like a gaming cloud. Like, are people?
That would be kind of cool.
Are people doing
like
that?
You can. So what the PS4 does is
it would take so long though.
Well, it takes long to download. So the thing is you can put your save data to the cloud. So if I want to play my game at your place, if I go to your place, I can download my memory from that game onto your PS4 through the cloud.
Guys, we're problem solving now.
Yeah,
we got
this is
but hopefully,
see, most people would bring up a problem and just complain about it. We're different. This is the expansion pack. We bring up solutions. We expand on our ideas.
But we also have a bias because all three of us have PlayStation. We don't know what Wii does or Switch or whatever's out now from Nintendo.
Right.
Look, the Switch is kind of cool.
It's stuff.
It's kind of cool.
It's dumb. It's a PSP.
It's
a
dumb.
PSP XL. That's all it is.
It's not. It's so cool.
That's all it is.
It's so
and you can dock it. And
But at the end of the day, that's still. You know what? We're gonna have to get to a point where we just have to buy like a family Switch and just
If Super Smash Bros. Comes out on the Switch, I might have to
I
get
think we
that.
need to just put our money together and just get it just to enjoy it.
I was about to pay like $200 or $300 for a Wii U, the worst system I think Nintendo's come out with.
Yeah.
Just to play Super Smash Bros. Wii U.
Yeah.
And that is still $60, by the way.
Dude, Melee damn near $60.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are classics. And GameStop would still only give you $1 for it.
Damn.
Yes,
we don't
yes,
accept.
shots
I'm sorry.
fired.
I'm sorry.
GameStop.
We can't accept that. This is outdated. But you'll take my GameCube stick though.
Did you ever
You
use
guys
Yoshi?
got
Oh no, can't.
No.
No, we can't do that one.
Here, we're gonna take it for $1 and we're gonna sell it for like $60 because it's a classic.
And then they want to sell merchandise of that class. You know what, GameStop? You guys are
Step up
assholes.
your game.
Step up your game.
Please step up your game.
Yeah, even
I
Best,
used to like
Best
it, guys.
Buy is making better waves with you buy a game, you get points. Those points can be
I don't
added
think
to
Justin
another
wants to
game.
hear anything
He
about
said
Best
that.
Buy.
He said that. Not just
But
instantly.
this is outside of it though, because Best Buy also has price match. I would hope so. It's in their name. You have usually, basically, if you're gonna buy a game nowadays, you're not returning it to get your money back. Like
no more.
the
Now we're
closest-
not.
Yeah, like Amazon, I found they give you the most money, or just buy it from a friend. Like,
Amazon's
that's basically it.
Well, yeah. Well, that'll cover our gaming
We're
tips,
plugging
guys.
people and
We
shooting
are
people
plugging.
down.
We should-
Sponsors.
It's fun. Hey,
Sponsors.
We need
Amazon.
sponsors.
So, guys, we'll be back with you next week.
Apple.
Apple.
Also Apple.
We'll be back with you guys next week. Hopefully, we'll have more of the cast coming. We actually are all shooting with Samsung. We all are Samsung and PlayStation people. Shout out Sony. Shout out Samsung.
If you guys ever want to spawn, if you
know,
guys,
just holler at
need
us.
someone else.
That's not gonna
Sponsor.
happen. We're trying.
It
But yeah,
might
we'll be back
one
with you
day.
guys. We'll be back with you guys next week, and then we also have some additional content coming to you too. So be on the lookout for that. Remember to possibly like, subscribe, comment. And if you got something, we're not mean. If you watch the whole thing, you might as well.
If you do, we'll bring back more people.
All right, guys. See ya. All right. That was too bad.